Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. Today's topic is mental magic and how facile our minds can be to change from one belief to another just in an instant, to shift our reality, shift our experience. Anyway, before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, negativity, stress, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, energizing all your cells and your molecules and your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining stress, tension, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together and very, very softly rub your fingers against your palms to feel the deliciousness of that sensation, the tickling and the tingling, and just bring yourselves present to your physical body and how remarkable it is that we have these magnificent physical forms to be the vehicle for our experience of life. And welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Christmas Eve day. So I'm sure that many of you are gearing up for festivities, and others of us might be spending quality time with family or with our friends or with our own company, or hopefully you can find a place of peace and joy for this day, and allow today and tomorrow to be your own personal kind of celebration. But I want to talk about the fluidity of the mind, mental magic. Like our minds can shift in a moment, and our perception and our experience of reality shifts right along with it. And I just find it so fascinating. And I just have to tell this story because it's relevant in so many ways. I was trying to think of whether I should do today's topic on money because of this story I'm going to recount, but I just decided to make it a bit broader to talk about how really facile our minds are, and really how mutable our reality is. So, or our experience of reality. And as I say that, I see that parts of my scarf are glistening in and out, and it's because it has green on it. So Zoom is detecting a green screen. And so the green in the scarf, it's flickering reality. So how perfect, how perfect that that's today's topic. Anyway, I don't know if you're here. I'm not seeing any comments, so that's why I'm not responding yet. I'm going to check on Facebook just to make sure we're live, and we are, so that's all good. And, so let's explore this topic about the facility, the changeability of our minds. Well, what's actually going on when we say I've changed my mind? Well, I'm going to give you an example. This was just so amazing. So yesterday I was doing a session with a friend, and before I start these sessions, good morning. Thanks, Rosalind. Rosalind said she logged off and logged back on, and then the comments show now. I don't know why that is, but anyway, I appreciate your effort to do that, Rosalind. Thank you. So anyway, I was doing the session with a friend who is very, very, very connected to the universe, to the energy of the universe, to their experience of their God self and their unboundedness. And they were talking, I mean, there are big visions that this person has that are going to require money. And so we started having this conversation, and they were telling me about how they really just didn't want anything to do with money. And I think that this is such a prevalent experience for healer people, you know, that there are these ideas about this negative energy around money, and that it's part of an old paradigm, and there's so much evil that happens with it, and all kinds of responsibilities, and having to protect it and put a whole lot of focus on it, and it brings out the worst in people, all these ideas, right? And this person was going on and on and on. And I thought it was really, really interesting because, you know, the truth of the matter is that the way that the world works right now, in order to accomplish the things that were part of the vision, money is essential. And to have that kind of attitude, this person actually said, I don't want it. You know, so I want it and I don't want it. And so you've got these conflicting energies, right? One is pull me, the other is push you. You know, it's like this, the universe, how's the universe going to respond? Good morning, Isabel. Happy almost Christmas to everyone who celebrates. So, and happy almost Christmas to everybody who doesn't, for that matter. But anyway, so it was really interesting because I think that many of us have these ideas about money. And so we did a session, and the actual body of the session was maybe 20 minutes, maybe at most a half hour. And at the end of the session, the whole notion of money was completely transformed. And the fascinating thing was, before we did the session, Gia, hello, Gia, welcome. So good to have you here with us. Thank you so much. And happy holidays to everyone. Thank you, Isabel. Yes, so I just want, you know, this is so funny because, again, so many of us have these issues around money, and we wonder why it's not pouring into our lives, right? So this person was talking about the responsibility and all the ugliness around money, and, you know, the old paradigm around money. And so before we did the work, they said, nobody's ever going to be able to convince me otherwise, right? So here's conviction. And I know the truth, and it is that way. That's the reality of it. They did the session, and in the session, there was this experience of light beings and this coalition of light beings, and incredible connection and joy and clarity and freedom. And then I asked, in that context, you know, what's going on around money? And their whole experience of it in the context of these light beings that were all connected, that were of a high frequency. There was this literal mountain of money. And it was interesting because at first the person said, well, it smells, you know, like it has a smell to it, like a not good smell to it. And through the course of the session, the smell went away. It became very light. It became very, and, you know, bright energy. And so after the session, I said, so what's going on about money? And because initially there was a revulsion, literally a revulsion about money. And after the session, money was great and had amazing energy. And I said, well, what about there was a perception that the less money people had, the happier they were. I said, well, what about that? He said, the person said, well, that is on a completely different frequency. It was on like a 3D frequency versus a 5D frequency, that by raising the whole frequency of the beingness and the perception, money also was elevated as a tool of light, that could be used as a tool of light. And so he said, well, the previous perceptions were from a completely different level of density. And through this session, there was this massive elevation. And so now, after the session, the person said, well, money is an energy for good, or I forget, it was like diametrically opposed. I forget the exact words, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise. So, it was so interesting here in the space of 20 minutes, a lifelong, deeply held belief with tremendous conviction in the space of 20 minutes, absolutely transformed into something that was, I want to say completely opposite, but that's creating a polarity. I'm not looking to create a polarity, but it was remarkable. It was like a totally new perception. So what is it about our minds and our beings that we can, in the space of 20 minutes or less, perhaps, transform our beliefs, deeply held convictions like that, to be something other? And what does that mean about our reality? What it means to me about our reality is that our reality is completely fluid, and that our experience and perception of it is completely fluid. In other words, it's completely mutable and very much dictated by our beliefs. This was just such and apparently something radical happened right after the session, but I haven't gotten to hear what it was, because I got a text that said, you're not going to believe what just happened, right after the session, immediately after the session. So, I find it quite remarkable, the magic of the mind, or mental magic. Like, this was just a change of perception and context that transformed everything, that transformed the energy and the attraction that this guy had for what was going on in the world. And, if you're up to big things in the world, why would you create or feed something that is going to be such a profound impediment, when there's another way to be looking at something as a resource that serves you better, right? It's amazing. I just was amazed. Yum. This is homemade water kefir, tart cherry water kefir. Yum. So good morning, Robin. It's so good to have you here with us. Merry Christmas to you. And thank you for the wishes and for New Year wishes. Rosalind says, and Robin, it's great to have you here as always. Rosalind says, beliefs have changed, like taking a pseudo pill and getting healed, right? Well, so this is also, okay, so this is another one. Again, beliefs and how our experience can transform as a result. So another friend, client, all my clients are friends. I'm graced in that way. I feel really blessed. And by the way, I am starting a new cohort the beginning of February, and I actually have a couple openings. And if you're interested in it's a 3-month program, and it is transformational, I promise. with the core connection work. It is life altering. So it'll be February, March, and April. And it is going to start the last day of January, which is a Monday. And if you're interested in experiencing the work and potentially joining the coaching program, it's one-on-one, but we do have a weekly group that's optional. You can go to my website to check it out. If you're interested, you can message me on Messenger. So my website is yourcoreconnection.com. You can see it right up here. And go there, you'll learn about the program, learn about the work, and I'm giving away a free session so that you get to experience the work. The only caveat is that you need to have done transformational work already. So I think that with this audience, that's pretty reliably the case, but we do very, very, very deep work on whatever is in your way in life. It's really about peeling away the overlays that keep us from our fullest, most joyful expression. So that's it for my shameless plug. Again, we're going to be starting in February. So I have a few spots open, and I'm giving away sessions as long as I have spots available. So I'm giving away sessions as my way of promoting my work. And the reason that I do it that way is because the work is kind of impossible to describe. There's no way that I could convey how powerful it is by describing it or explaining it to you. It's something you need to experience to be able to recognize the potential of it. Anyway, so another person, and again, this is change of mind, change of perception. As a baby, was dropped and injured, and their neck was injured, and this poor baby was in pain for like the first year of their life, and would cry if anybody other than mom or dad held the baby, and became hypervigilant. And that was just the beginning of a whole series of traumas where foundation safety was threatened. Good morning, Elaine. Thank you so much for sharing that, the YouTube. I haven't gotten to watch it. It looks fascinating. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. And Robin says, oh, well spoken. Nice. Thank you very much. So anyway, this is really, really interesting. So this lifelong experience and story, history and story about having been dropped as a child and having this persistent pain, it became and is like life is that way. That is how things are. And people get very attached to their stories. Like, this is the truth. And like the money story, that was the truth. And so what we did was we looked at what was going on in the neck, what was going on in the body, what were the emotions. Through the course of a session, it was really interesting because the pain in the neck, and that's also a metaphor, we can recognize that the body's really smart and witty, pain in the neck, that where the pain was, we went in and saw the mechanics. There was some twisting and popping and stuff that happened. And at the end of the session, the neck didn't hurt. And this had been a lifelong thing where, neck hurt, neck pain, headaches, I don't know if it's permanent and going to last, but holding that story, there was so much wrapped up in that story, and the emotion of it, and the lack of safety, and feeling that it had an impact on mental, on mental function. And it was a very, very far-reaching story. So I'm really excited to see what happens going forward. But in the course of the session, there were some things going on in the neck where things were moving around and adjusting, and the headache and the neck pain went away. So the person reported that the day after the session, they had a really bad headache. And then after that, no headache, no neck pain. And it's something that had been persistent for years, for a lifetime. So changing of mind, changing of perception, changing of the story, changes our experience. It just blows me away. I am so amazed by how radically people can transform. Like I've done other sessions with people where we worked on, I remember one person, the very first session we did was on self-hatred and their relationship with themselves. In that one session just turned their life around. It's remarkable to see how I'm not telling you all this to talk about the session. I'm talking about the change that happens, and the change that happens is a change of perception, a change of awareness and context, and that shift in context shifts experience so profoundly. And it is so magical to me. I have to say, I get so much satisfaction and joy out of seeing these miracles happen for people where, somebody who their whole life struggled with anxiety and now and was on all kinds of medication, had all kinds of treatment, and now is even after years and years and years is not having anxiety. Now has all this energy and attention to be able to put on living life. Somebody else who was really just thinking about dying, as getting older and thinking about dying, is getting creative again. What is it that our minds are so adaptable? And that's the thing to be taking away from this, is that our minds are so incredibly flexible and adaptable that we can transform our reality like that. And especially this time of year, especially at this time of year, which can be so challenging for so many people. I just want to share that we can change, we can make these changes. It is available to us. Elaine says, body memory is beautiful to clear at a cellular level. When the experience has served its purpose and is no longer needed, the memory dissolves. Yes, and my experience, Elaine, and I don't know if this is so for you, but my experience in general is that these things don't dissolve if left untended. Most often, that they are held in the body, kind of like held in a computer, until we purge it, until we delete that bit of code or whatever in the computer. And I agree with you. We truly can clear this stuff at a cellular level. We truly can. And as we do, our frequency changes. And as our frequency changes, the circumstances that we attract change, our way of being shifts, our possibility shifts. And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? Is clearing away whatever the overlays are that keep us from being the highest expression of our joy and our passion and our love and our purpose, right? And so this is where this phrase just came into my head: hope springs eternal. This is where that spring of hope comes from, is recognizing how profoundly we can shift in our lives, that we are not destined to have to stay in the same patterns, in the same rut, in the path that feels limiting, that we can expand out of that in any moment. Elaine says, yes, awareness is needed to dissolve the issue held within the body mind. Well, and to your point, awareness is key to everything, really. Awareness, presence, and it often really makes a difference to be able to have assistance and support with that. And I really feel very blessed that that's where I live with people. You know, like that's my practice. Is I have this magic process that supports people in releasing these things and clearing stuff at a cellular level. So I get to witness these miraculous transformations in people that truly gives me hope. And as the days are getting longer and longer and we have more light, let's use this time to bring more light into the world, more light of hope and promise. So there's an initiative on Clubhouse that was started by this a couple people. Elaine says, yes, we are all reflections. Yes. So let's shine brightly. Oh, look at that. That was so wild. Zoom just got brighter. That's bizarre. I love it. Anyway, darn, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, let's bring the brightness to the season. Let's bring the brightness to the world. There's no time that the world has needed our light more than now. And let's hope. That's what it was. So their acronym for hope is help one person every day. I liked it. I like it still. And I thought maybe you would too. Anyway, let's share our light and bring hope, and whether it's hope for ourselves or hope for others, hope for the world, is really not an idle sitting back and hoping that things are going to change, but hope in terms of presencing ourselves to the possibility of the world we dream about. So with that, Merry Christmas to everybody, whether you celebrate it or not. And I just thank you. Gia says every day. Let's see. Thank you, Mira, Rubin. It's such a pleasure to be with you. Any given day, I learn. You're very, very kind, Gia. Thank you. So lots of joy to you, lots of love, and be gentle with yourself through the holidays. And I look forward to seeing you next week, I hope. And enjoy the season and shine your light.